thriving business.
Okay, thank you so much for being part of the show, The Economic Agenda, and a good evening to every Ugandan and even those that are not Ugandans. I hope you are doing well. The time check is about 8 minutes past 8. We are going to be having a member from Uganda Bureau of Statistics once again, and of course on the same issue of the national population and housing census. Today is the 8th of May 2024, and we are getting close to that very important day. What I know is that I think it has been declared as a public holiday. I think on the 10th we are going to have, it's going to be clarified by Helen, who is my guest today. Welcome back, and I hope you have had a nice week. Welcome back from also the meeting between the president and the traders at Kololo. That was a lot of exchange of words between the citizens and the head of state, but it was a very productive conversation. We had a lot of things to learn from both sides, and the president explained what is important. Let's make sure that we cooperate with the government in the same time, in the same way we should cooperate with the government in this coming national population and housing census. Madam Helen, as you said, I will, if you don't mind me calling you Madam Helen, the formalities are still on.
I prefer Helen.
You prefer Helen?
Yes.
Okay, Helen, please introduce yourself once again to our viewers and say a word of hello.
Hello, good evening, our viewers, our listeners. My name is Helen Namirembe. I work with the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and I'm here to talk about the census preparations.
Thank you very much. And last week, we had some extensive conversation regarding this same program. I just want to emphasize how crucial this is to the country and to the government, because they are in charge. The government is in charge of making sure that services are delivered to every citizen in this country. When I say services, we're talking about social services and any other services, public services that are supposed to be delivered. Talk about health, talk about education, talk about transport, and so many other things. This is a time to determine that all these services are delivered appropriately. But I mean, the last time we were here, you explained a lot of things, but before I get to some of the key things that we need to discuss today, let's also start with that headline that came out in one of the national newspapers about 180 questions. Isn't it creating biases among the Ugandans, and what do you say about it?
Well, to a larger extent, although I can't measure that,
Yes.
Some of our colleagues, the public, they have their reservations. It's true, the questions are 180.
Yes.
But I wish they had asked us, are you really going to ask me all those questions? Yes. So when we are asking the census questions, we have what we call eligibility. There are questions specifically for males. When it comes to reproductive health, you find that we focus on females, and we don't ask those questions to the males. There are questions for children. There are questions on education. Not everyone is of school-going age. Is so on and so forth. So you find that there are also questions where you have people who have left the households, who have migrated, people who received remittances, those who are working. We look at the age of 14 to 64. You find that you can't be subjected to all questions.
Yes.
When you get to the section on household and housing characteristics, we ask a number of questions. These are to do with construction materials,
yes,
whether they are the nature of these materials, are they permanent or are they temporary materials, so as to gauge the level of well-being of this household.
yes.
So whether you have a toilet or not, whether it is a flush or not, that's why we are saying that allow our enumerators to enter your homes. They are relieving you some of the questions. I have already seen the structure, that the roof is made up of this. The floor is tiled, or it is cement, or it is mud, whatever it is, we reach every part of this country. The construction materials for the walls, and then the sources of energy. I will have seen your kitchen, because as I'm coming in, I will say, hello there, may we come in? If your kitchen is built outside, I'm not going to ask all those questions. The bathrooms, if I haven't seen, then I have to ask you. So you find that for all these 180 questions, you cannot ask all those questions to one person. Yes, so the anxiety that is around all this, I think Ugandans, we are requesting them to remain calm. The information is very much useful. We have questions on agriculture.
Yes.
We have questions on, even if you're keeping a few chicken, we ask you whether really this agriculture, is it, why are you keeping this cattle? Is it for home consumption? Is it for commercial purposes? Do you practice any irrigation? So you find that some of these may not apply. Do you grow trees? Do you practice livestock rearing, like I've said? And then what types? What are the purposes? Is it in this district only? And if it's in another district, then another person? You find that we'll be capturing this information, because we want to relate this information to the area where you live, especially at district level.
Yes.
So you find that not all questions, we have questions on immunization on children, and why. You will ask yourself, we are not really now measuring the level of immunization, because it goes into detail, getting the card and asking detailed questions, what antigens you received. But we are looking at this age bracket of children, this category of children, leaving no one behind.
Wow.
Our surveys have shown that the numbers have been fluctuating between 1 to 4% of the child population aged 12 to 23. There are some who have never been immunized. So there is concern from the Ministry of Health. Where are they? And the other academicians, where are these children? So that is why we are including some of those questions.
Over time, one of the reasons why I am going to appreciate you for making an emphasis regarding this particular headline that came out, and disappointingly it came out in the national newspaper, it's because this information has been very key in negatively influencing a number of activities in Uganda, including vaccination, as you're saying. This article may not necessarily be disinformation, but in some way it is a very plain headline, and Ugandans are very good at operating by headlines. They don't go into details. The moment they see a headline, the president said this, and they go with that. They don't know exactly what is behind that headline. So it's why I feel we needed to highlight on this. And I'm also just going to add a voice and say one thing. Those questions that are going to be asked, they are not exactly 180 that someone's going to sit and begin answering all those questions. As Helen has explained, they are going to ask you questions that relate to exactly the information they want from different categories of people. And we shall leave that at that point. one of the other things that I feel we needed to make an emphasis on is what is the Bureau doing to make sure that all Ugandans are fully informed about this program at the moment?
Okay, thank you very much. Like we are here today, many of our colleagues at the Bureau, including our leadership, they have been on various talk shows, talking to the masses, on the radio, on the TVs. Throughout this country, every district has organized publicity activities, and they sit, they organize, they have census committees at that level. So we have taken it to the grassroots through the existing government infrastructure. So we also have the print media, where you have seen the papers writing about the census, informing the masses of what is going to happen and what it is all about, and even including the 180 questions. Then we also have other areas where we have engaged the local council leaders. We are remaining with, I can say it's only tomorrow. So today the training has ended in most parts of the country, and tomorrow the local leaders are supposed to take the enumerators to canvass their areas, know the boundaries of where they are supposed to, where they have been assigned their areas of jurisdiction.
Yes.
And in doing so, as I indicated the other time, the community leaders will be giving their final message to the households. Yes, we are here, we are canvassing the areas, and please be there, be prepared, be counted.
Yes.
Yes. We have gone through, also we have worked with various agencies to pass on this message. The other time, the training of the UPDF, our executive was there, and we have also interacted with the key influential persons, the leadership, and even the president himself. This is the apex body in this country. He has circulated a message to every Ugandan. I
have seen a number of my MP friends creating posters and sharing on social media. I think one of the other things that you have not mentioned is the much you have used social media this time round. I think more than the other time anyway, the time when we got counted, I think did we even have social media that time? I'm not sure.
Well, I don't remember.
This time round, I have seen a lot of campaigns on social media. I have seen a number of social media influencers coming in and sharing some of these posts, and of course that has been well done. So from the Bureau, for those that are still wondering if actually the whole country is aware of this program, I think the campaign has been extensively done, and the call to action from Helen is that please make sure that you get counted. It's a call to Ugandans to prepare very well, that on 10th, it's very important that you get counted, and it matters. One of the other things that I wanted to get to talk about with you are the key reasons for conducting the census. I know you made an explanation the other time, but Friday's coming. In high school, we used to call it, I think, Chirombo. You went to those boarding schools and traditional schools. So we are in Chirombo. Please make an emphasis on the reasons why we are having this program.
Thank you, moderator. We are having this program. Government needs numbers for planning. But when His Excellency launched the census, his message was, we are answering 5 questions. How many are we? Where are we? Then what do we own? How do we live? That is the standard of living. And also, what services do we access? So along these lines, government is able to plan at national level and also at subnational level through the local governments, higher local governments. What we are doing, we are answering, the census is really anchored to the development frameworks. we are not doing it in isolation with the country program or the development program for this country. So in doing so, we have set up monitoring indicators, and these monitoring indicators, the Bureau is responsible, and other key ministries and other departments, other stakeholders, the private sector and the public to generate some of this information, especially when we talk about administrative data. So through the census, we are responding to this call, because in terms of planning, we have budget allocations. Budget allocation of resources is highly critical. It's not only the financing, but as I indicated that when we collect data, if you look at our community questionnaire, we ask so much about service delivery. Do you have a motorable road in this community? Do you have ABCD? Do you have agriculture extension services? You also look at the PDM. And then even though we ask these questions at a household level, we are going to we can aggregate this information and get it at the community level. So the Electoral Commission is planning for 2026.
Yes.
This is 2024. So the results will be able to guide the
electoral process.
Yes, the electoral process. One, you are able to know the number of voters in this country. You will do a projection and you get the number of voters at that level. But also some areas are growing fast. What do we need to demarcate other electoral areas, constituencies? They use the total population. So it is going to guide all this in terms of planning for the next elections. We collect information on agriculture, we collect information on the community, we collect information on maternal health. We are going to ask about mothers who are pregnant. We don't look at this in isolation. We look at the catchment population vis-a-vis the health facilities that are available. We know that most of the deliveries that are happening in the communities, in the rural areas, it's the health center 3s and health center 2s that are doing this. The figures have been going up for supervised deliveries. But then when it comes to maternal health, we are planning for the human resource itself and also the other infrastructure in terms of the services. So you are able to know which areas are underserved or which areas are okay in terms of those indicators. But where are these pregnant mothers? Why is it that they are not going to these health facilities? Doesn't mean that nearness you will access those services, but at least there is a service.
Yes.
We also look at other attributes we have in the data. We have variables like ownership of assets. It's not only for welfare, but there are issues to do with IEC communication. When we know that these are the areas where we have most of the mothers who are pregnant, but do they have these services, communication, access to, do they have access to communication? Do the households where they live have these services? So if they don't have, is there a mobile phone in this household? This number has been growing up. So how can we reach out to these mothers? How can we tap into some of the IEC messages for family planning, for reproductive health, and so on and so forth? Where is it lacking? Already we know that there are some areas where we have network coverage which is being poor, and so maybe this will push government. Ministry of Health can work with the service providers. Look, we have these mothers who are pregnant. These areas, there is no network in this area. So how do you expect us to communicate to them if we are to send messages? Even us who are providing areas and maybe in other health indicators, we also collect information on like mosquito net distribution and trying to access the service delivery in the sense that how did you get this net? Did you buy it? Did you get it through an NGO? Did you get it through government programs? You assess the level of whether government is really reaching out to these communities. Yeah.
In other words, the census is also going to determine the level of poverty and development that we so far have achieved as a country.
We may not measure the level of poverty, but we are able to do some detailed analysis. We call small area estimation. I don't want to go into the gymnastics of this analysis. Yes. We are linking our lowest level data of the at parish level. You are looking at the household characteristics. Already we are aware, we have done the household survey, and the same questions we asked in the household survey are the same questions we are asking in the census. So you are able to link and these characteristics and be able to give estimates of poverty at that level, at sub-county level, which are very, very critical and core for as indicative planning figures for resource allocation for the Ministry of Finance.
So you also say that this is also going to help us to determine the needs in the different regions.
Yes.
Which region is in which level of need in terms of certain services? Is that something that we are looking at that tomorrow, after the census, we are going to know, okay, Eastern Uganda maybe needs more roads, Northern Uganda maybe needs such services. That's something that we are also looking at after the census.
Yes, this is also guiding resource allocation. Resource allocation is like which areas are underserved such that we prioritize.
Yes.
If you have a small basket of resources, where should I invest? Because you look at where you achieve more and where there are more people suffering. But also in the other areas we have collected info. We are going to ask for information about the birth certificate of a child.
Okay.
Yes, this has been highly critical in the sense that we are trying to get in terms of service delivery. A child is given a NIN at birth. So where are these births happening? Do children have birth certificates? You know that when they sit primary 7, the very first thing, you have to give us your birth certificate, yes. Such that they retain those names and the birth certificate throughout your education, whatever journey.
Thank you very much, Helen. And we will step out a little bit into a short commercial break. The conversation about the national population and housing census. Like we said the other time, don't miss the word housing, because the government is not only looking at understanding or getting the number of Ugandans, but also assessing the situation in which Ugandans are in, and that is a caring parent, if I may say. If I just come and I say I have 10 children, but I don't know how many children go to school, how many children don't go to school, I want to be a father at all. So the government is making sure that the children that the government has, the people, the citizens, we also are aware that they are going through this kind of situation and that kind of situation. We'll step into a short commercial break. We'll be coming back. My name is Noah Wapera, and this is the economic agenda. It has happened on Wednesday because of the need of this particular program. Stay tuned. We'll return.
Smart 24, driving business.
MTN moment kutusaka live in concert kujahazi PM nyonyo mo hip hop kuna rubale Prokanga 18 Mei 2024 na fefe bosi weekend kama koma rapo na nyina freestyle jangola bomwana wakulu kutebika munganiga sasa liva muchamba misala na chino gatuli marapu melele kukinga mtwale bidi bia mtwale tano emeza kakande emeza bia milioni 3 downloading MTN Momo apa osaliwe kebijula 5 kubuli 10 ku tiketi woguli ko MTN Momo tiketi egula mtwalo gumo ate VIP ebili chitundu tulina the boss cruise you're looking Itedwa musente MC MTN Momo give our establishment the angry management
Bulu magic is my joy. Ono bulu magic wange.
Ayo, Tara bakumabala. atukuza nonyirirawo kirako enyange tayisa bubi faburiki kyonna kyekiri kigwa lwa bulu magiki is my choice ono bulu magiki ye wange ambye bulu magiki is my choice ono bulu magiki ye wange
The National Population and Housing Census 2024 is here. Uganda is to conduct the Census 2024 this May to update our population status that will support government to plan for every citizen. The numeration team is in the field to respond to all the necessary interests by you and me as they register all of us. Note that the census night is 9th May 2024. Let us all be part of this exercise by working with the numerators, provide correct data and information. This exercise is to assist the government in planning government resources properly, provide efficient service delivery, and the formulation of national policies. The numeration will start on the 10th to 19th, 2024, and the counting will be done at our homes or places of residence. The Census 2024, it matters to be counted. This message is brought to you by Dr. Chris Mukiza, the Executive Director, Uganda Bureau of Statistics, and the Government of Uganda.
Luxury redefined at Seasan Hotel has you endowed in the splendor of elegant living fit for the royalty that you are. Step into comfort, pampering and blissful customer-centric service as you select from our range of comfy exquisite living quarters furnished to meet with your royal preference. Surrounded by scenic beauty, our tropical setting allows you to escape the glamorous ordeal of city life. Our ambient green gardens will guide you to a place of revitalizing rest. The 3-star restaurant caters to your palate, serving your choice menu ranging from exotic cuisines to local delicacies. Our chefs will serve you full-course meals for a truly out-of-this-world culinary experience. Our fully stocked bar to whet your throat, from renowned global brand whisks, brandies, gins, beers and wines to our locally celebrated beverages, you will not lack for any brewage. It's an all-new experience in the East at Seasan Hotel, so visit today at Plot 15 to 19 Spire Road, Ginger, or contact us on +256 751 719 960 and +256 785 354 614 for reservations. Seasan Hotels, luxury redefined.
Smart 24, driving business.
Okay, welcome back to the economic agenda and Smart 24 TV driving business. My name is Noah Opera, your host, and we are discussing the national population and housing census that is happening this year, this month, from the 10th of May 2024, and it's going to be running for consecutively 10 days, right?
Yes.
10 days of the national census. We are going to, I think maybe you need to highlight this before I forget. So which day is going to be a public holiday?
Friday.
Friday.
Yes.
Friday is going to be a public holiday. This is from the government. And of course, this is being communicated by Uganda Bureau of Statistics. So you may not need to go home. Just you may not need to go to work, just stay home and get counted. And for one more time, this activity is very, very important, not only for you as a Ugandan, but for the government that is in charge of national planning, to make sure that services are improved and to make sure that we know the future of this country called Uganda, the Pearl of Africa. Now, in the next conversation, I want us to focus on individual Ugandans.
Yes.
I would like Helen to explain to us how imperative is this activity to, every individual and in every household. How imperative is this? How important is this activity?
Thank you very much. Whatever we do, we need planning figures. We have quite a number of topics that are new, including those who are old. So for instance, look at the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Gender. They're interested in children who are orphans.
Who are orphans, yes.
Yes, if you don't count people and you leave out some of them, that will be something, they will miss a lot, and one, it is going to affect your planning figures at the lowest level. So whenever you are out there, because I remember even during the PDM funds, when people were told to register, go and register, some of them were saying, this government, no, this government.
Yes.
Then time came, those lists were there, and they told them, can you go back to your parishes or sub-counties, line up and receive funds? People started running. They have not registered. So when we yes, and they were rejected. So when we count, when we are doing a census enumeration, it is for, the census is for everyone. There are some population groups which are very minority, they look at the minority. And we find that we have the ethnic minority, they are there, but they are scattered. Then you find that we have a team of other people, like people with disabilities.
Yes.
Today, for the first time, we are even counting the little persons.
The little person.
Yes. So
the
this.
little person. Oh yes.
Yes.
I get them.
Yes, you get them.
So very special.
Yeah, they are very special people.
Yes.
They can't sit on that chair where you are sitting. Because when you, even in this room, I have seen the switch is above a certain height.
Yes.
So in those countries where there is inclusiveness, where there is no leaving anyone behind, you find that the switch is down. You
to
just
make sure
to make sure that
people can work
when we receive a little person here, the services, you find that they can't sit on that chair, they can't board your truck, they can't board a bus. So it's like, don't look at them as if they are
the disabled.
Yes, they are not disabled in a way, but the issues, it's the environment, which is limiting their full participation in society.
So we shouldn't look at them like they are disabled.
They are to some extent disabled in a way that is, they are limited in their participation in activities of daily living. Yes, they can run, they can walk, they can see, but when it comes to the environment, it affects their participation, and that's why they are important. So we also have, for the first time, in the past we've been visiting all parts of this country, and we go everywhere. This time we are working very closely with the Office of the Prime Minister and other development partners, the UN family, especially those responsible for refugees.
Yes.
Even those who have just come in, even those who are just at the point of being registered. So they are going to be part
of the census,
but not part of our population. You see, there is a way you analyze the information that in Uganda we counted so many people, but because of the nature, the way they are handled, and we are asking this information at individual level. Is there any refugee in this household? They know they are registered, they have cards, they have numbers. So we are working closely with OPM, and UNHCR.
And the refugees also benefit from some of the government services.
They benefit because it is, when we have that refugee response committee, it's integrated, everything is done together, in the sense that the Ministry of Health, there is a comprehensive, there is a committee for comprehensive response, and in this country, and we are lucky that even statistics is taken at the forefront. So they are there. The issue of numbers, we have harmonized all these processes. Even when we are collecting data, we go to the refugee camps, the settlements. So we are able to do comparison with the host communities, with the neighboring communities where they live, and then to show, because that's the only comparison you can make, but you can't compare to the whole country. So all these are really pertinent. So if you omit some of these people, if they are not all counted, at that lowest level, it will impact on them, it will affect them. Leaving no one behind means everybody has to be included. When it comes to these minority, small groups, that's where you'll have a challenge. We have a challenge, especially when households, some of them don't want to open up. We have people who are bedridden, we have people who are severely disabled. Yeah, they can't walk by themselves. The newly born, some of them don't regard them, is that a child also? Something like that. It's the perception. So it's the mindset. And we encourage the public, don't leave them behind. You are dealing with a very important population, because when government wants to plan for these people who are disabled and you don't talk about them, you don't bring them out, then because you find that the population numbers are small. So when we go lower at village level, it will be difficult if you leave out these people. So everybody should be included for purposes of planning.
And also you find that if these people are not considered in the counting, the families of these people are suffering because the services are limited for them. And I'm thinking in this way, maybe to give leverage to families to see how they can support people with disabilities, and schools and hospitals. So I'm looking at the situation where you're explaining, and then someone has to enter hospital, but there's no provision for that person to enter hospital or use the hospital toilets and all that. So I think, to me, this is the lesson I'm getting from that elaboration of why this census is very key for each individual to be counted. I don't know if there's anything you need to add on in this particular area.
I also wanted to add on, there are some new areas. We are asking respondents, that's why they complain the questions are many. But now this is only for those who are aged 16 years and above. We are asking them, do you have a national identification number? Yes, I registered with NIRA, I've never received the card, no, or I picked the card, something like that. So the massive enrollment exercise is beginning this year. I believe in 1st June, people are going to start being enrolled. Yes, for the new. So if you deny this government such information, we have children who are growing, because this population did not participate. But over time, other people have been going to get their cards once you reach the eligible age of 16. But in terms of resource allocation, if NIRA wants to say we are going to put a representative at each and every district, you may find that the bottlenecks are in some areas. Of course, I don't know, the census results will show that, here we have a very big population, they don't have means, so what do? Our IEC messages should focus on this group.
Yes.
If we are dispatching a team, we need to recruit more people for this region, because the numbers. Now, if you don't want to be counted, how will they plan for you?
True.
So these are some of the issues. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And one of the very, very key questions that Ugandans, of course, are now scratching their heads. How long is this census? Is it expected to last? And what actions are being urged upon local leadership in the various regions regarding the board of the census exercise?
The census is beginning on 10th.
Yes.
It is a public holiday, and Ministry of Public Service has already issued a circular. We are going to enumerate people up to the 19th, that is 10 days. So in some areas it might take a lesser time, especially the urban where households are closer. So the walking distance, you find that if they are closer, you take less time to get to the next household. They might finish earlier, although the concentration is high, but we have demarcated all this in line with regard to the 10 days, so that we finish within those 10 days.
Within those 10 days.
Yes. So at the end of that day, everyone is being enumerated.
Yes.
Those self-enumerating institutions have been trained. We have trained UPDF, we have trained police, we have trained prisons, and all these are there to do the counting. Even in the refugee settlement camps, we don't speak the languages, but we have camp commandants whom we have worked with to get those people who can speak the language.
Yes.
And where necessary, if there's a language barrier, we'll be able to use translators. But also we did the listing before, and we are aware of the numbers. So the demarcations are there to guide the enumeration exercise such that we finish on time. Yeah.
I think one of the other things, when we had a conversation here last week, I was asked by someone who was watching the show, and her question was about the data usage, and he said because I think she works with an NGO. Now that means that NGOs could be having those questions. The first one, she asked how long will it take for this data to be available. Then the other thing that she asked was will they have access to the data, because like NGOs depend on government data to plan and also see how they can address a few issues in the community that they can address. Some of them are working in the sector of education, some of them are working in the sector of recently NGOs are also helping in terms of peace building and all that. So would they have access to this data?
Thank you very much. When we collect all the information, we'll be able to give it to the public. And we'll be releasing results in piecemeal. The executive director is supposed to give results. We had planned to give results in the first 3 months.
Yes.
So in the first 3 months, it can be 6 weeks, it can be 10 weeks, it can be given the number. So that is just the population counts, that we are this population in this district. We have so many males and females up to maybe at sub-county level, giving those figures, or up to parish level, just the total counts. Then by the time we close the calendar year, we'll have released the final results. That is by December. So the final results will have an analytical report, and it will be a bigger report. It will have those topics of the demographic indicators, the fertility, the mortality, the migration, the education characteristics, and of course others, reproductive health and so on. But it will be a summarized version, which we call an abridged version, because it covers all topics for the entire country, and the population composition, name it. But then we know that we have our audience, which is segmented. Those who are handling people with disabilities will have a separate report, and which is more detailed. And then we call them monographs. We have a monograph on health, we have a monograph on disability, household and housing characteristics, energy resources in Uganda. So it's quite really elaborate. You will have over 10 of these monographs. And we have the youth, we have the older persons, we have the children. You find that you have a report on status of children in Uganda, leaving no one behind, whatever the topic. So we work along those lines. The youth, people who are employed, you only follow that topic and giving more detail, such that because of our audience, you are able to pick out what you want and at what level. So the districts also will work with them, and we hope that within a year they will have prepared their reports. We have a whole department responsible for local government statistics. We'll work closely with other collaborators internally and externally to ensure that these districts have all the data they need. We build their capacity and educate them on how to. They already know some of the things, but because of the turnover in the districts, those whom we trained last census have moved on. So you have to keep training, and things do change. And we will have district-specific reports and area-specific reports. When I say area-specific reports, you'll find that I will have a district report which looks at a district as a constituency, and also the constituencies within. Even the MPs are going to have the political leadership. So at that level. So we are meeting the demands of each and every person. Our biggest challenge has been giving the grassroots their results. So hopefully this time
you're making me ask another question.
We work with the districts. It has been a challenge. The demands are many. The demands for data are increasing day by day.
It is.
Yes.
It is in every sector. And I have at least participated in some work with the NGO, civil society organizations. And I know that NGOs depend a lot on data from the government. There are those who are working with street children. I wanted to almost ask you about it, if also the census is going to determine how many street children. There are those who are working with orphans. There are those who are working with children with disabilities. Now, this census, it's why this information really is very key. And I think you have answered that actually the information will be available. I don't know where it's going to be accessed from, whether on your website, so it's going to be at different offices. Maybe it's also something that we can look at. But I will still emphasize to every Ugandan out there that on Friday, it's Friday, that is on the 10th, May 2024, it's going to be a public holiday, and we are going to start the count of Ugandans, and of course assessing different situations in Uganda that is under the National Population and Housing Census that is going to be happening after, it has been 10 years.
Yes.
It takes 10 years. So if you miss this time to be counted, it means now you'll have to wait for 10 years. I'm not sure if you're, how old are you and how old you're going to be by then. One of the other things that I wanted to look at, Helen, is what measures have been put in place to ensure that security of the data collected from the different households, and how does the Bureau intend to address any concerns regarding data leakage?
Thank you very much. The infrastructure environment for the data collection is already there. It has been a build-up process. We didn't say wake up today and say let's do this. We have tested this over time. We have over time collected data through the server. Using this tablet, we started, I think, it was in 2005. It's because we've been doing it with household surveys. But I hope you've never heard of any leakage. So we have, It's only this time that it is massive, but we have been using tablets since 2005.
To collect.
Yes, we have a whole team there for data security as part of our digital solutions team, and we have put measures in place, and I can't explain those technical terms, but these systems have been tested. Our data is secure. We use the VPN in the sense that we have a SIM card from the service providers, Airtel and MTN, which has been the largest. This card has been registered to be used by only 2 institutions. You can use it to call, but you can't use it for data. You can't. On our tablets, we have also deactivated those other applications which one can use for communication, such that you concentrate on data.
To cut off the hackers.
Yes, to cut off all those people. So at the end of the day, our VPN is secure. It's only between the two. They have bought the software. I don't ask me the types. The spyware, everything is in place. As I told you that we have, we already have a department. Within the department, there is a team. And this team has also been exposed. We've had services being offered. We have done. We call them study visits in other countries to share experiences. What did they go through? So to build on the security that you need to do this, you need to do this. So our systems are already there, and we already have a subcommittee on the IT, and we are not working in isolation, but we are working with other agencies, the ministry, NITAU, and to ensure that,
security agencies.
yes, even when we were buying the servers, all these procurements, they had to, they had to give us the clearance that, this is within Uganda standards, you have catered for ABCD. So it's not that we wake up and we have worked with those security agencies. There is a subcommittee. That is what I can explain from
I know for a fact that when you say you're partnering with different security agencies, I know that police has a very strong cyber security team department that is handling bank robberies, online bank robberies. Because I mean, these days people no longer carry guns and enter banks and rob. They sit at home and they take your money at their convenience. So I know that police has the cyber team. I know that the military intelligence has a very, very strong online cyber team that is tracking every security threat. So when you tell me that you're in partnership with all these agencies and you have built a system that is reliable, I think that's enough confidence to build in Ugandans that actually the issue of data loss or data theft is going to be handled very, very effectively. Anyways, our time is also up. Madam Helen, I don't know if you have any comment that you can give in 1 minute, and we get to sign out.
Thank you very much, moderator. To all our listeners, to all our viewers, we're really very appreciative for the time you have taken to listen, to watch us. As a Bureau of Statistics out there, we are waiting for you to welcome us into your households. And please, when you see our teams out there, open them. This message is mainly for the gated communities. Thank you. And our LCs, we are very grateful for all the support you've given us when we are doing the preparations. Please continue with the support. We know you are our ambassadors there, and so that we have a very successful exercise. We really bank on you as our gatekeepers. Thank you.
In some of those places, the gated community where you find Umwakari. Please open for the team that is coming to do this enumeration, and we make sure that we have clear information on this program. Otherwise, thank you so much for being part of the show today. It is about 1 minute past 9, And that brings us to the end of the show. But remember, the economic agenda happens every Tuesday. Just that today there has been of change of program because of this very special activity that is supposed to start on Friday, which is 20th of May, and that will be the National Population and Housing Census. So next Tuesday, we shall be having the economic agenda from 9 p.m. up to 10:30, where we discuss a number of very crucial issues that are happening in the country. My name is Noah Wapera, and this is Smart 24 TV, driving business every day. Stay tuned for more programs, and have a wonderful night.